Shanann Watts and her two daughters, 3-year-old Celeste and 4-year-old Bella, vanished on Monday. Their startling disappearance triggering a statewide alert as police and the FBI focus on her home outside Denver, where she was last seen.
And the viciousness of the crime. And equally aggravating in this court's determination is the despicable act of disposing of the bodies in the manner in which they were done in this case. I've been a judicial officer now for starting my 17th year, and I could objectively say that this is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
All right, everybody. So welcome back to Watsy Obsession live stream. It is Saturday evening, March 15th. It is, hey, check it out. It's a Watts weekend doubleheader. Let me just fix the view on the screen here real quick. So it's great to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I was just reading everyone's comments in chat. Welcome. I see some new faces, some OGs as always. And thank you guys so much for being here. Moderators, subscribers, members. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We will want you to come back. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy being part of the live chat and discussion. If you are new to the channel, hey, let us know where you're from or what you're interested about pertaining to this case, because we truly do want to know what you think. And as always, the only thing I ask is do the YouTube thing, hit the like button, just hit the damn like button. All right. Yeah, I know, right? Just pawn it, dude. Pawn it. Just pawn it, dude. Yeah. So I removed it, right? All of our famous little one-liners. So, hey, Paige, how's it going? Hey, Pepper, how are you doing? It's great to see you as always. Kevin and Edward, be good boys. Sometimes these moderators of mine, I have to keep them in line. I feel like I'm at work. Guys. Oh, I kind of am, though. But you guys are the fun part of work. Hey, Susan Peterson, how's it going? Hey, Pokemon, how are you doing? And Gen Z, how are you doing? Nice to see you. And let's see. I hope I'm going to say your name right. I'm going to Deneen, Too Fabulous. Oh, what a great name. I love it. I was saying someone's name wrong last night. I'm so sorry about that. It's truly not you or that I don't care about how I say your name. It's more my eyes. I wear contacts and I really need new ones. I think I need a new prescription. And by this time in the evening, yeah. Hey, Molly McClure, how's it going? Great to see you as always. Hey, Casey Face, thank you for being here. And Shay, it's wonderful to see you. I've seen you a lot in the comments on videos lately. Thank you so much for always weighing in. I would just love reading your guys' comments and hearing your opinion. It's really what it's about. You guys make the channel. So let's see. So last night, hey, Tony, how are you doing, my friend? Hey, Chad Myers, I hope you're still here. Hey, Sandra Voss, welcome. So last night we talked about the Idaho case. We're definitely going to switch gears from that. Idaho versus Brian Koberger. That was a heavy live stream, in my opinion. Hey, Floofmeister. It's so great to see you. So tonight, as promised, we are going to be talking about the Watts case. And, just one second. Honey, that might not. Okay, sorry. My son's being, our bunnies right now can get a little noisy. I don't know if it's creating a lot of background noise. Hey, Bebop, how's it going? Great to see you. So we're going to be talking about the Watts case this evening, and we are going to, as the title of this live stream indicates, I finally decided on the Mistress They Never Investigated, Watts case secrets. So we're going to be talking about the Mistress, Nicole Kessinger, what she knew, her involvement, the investigation. And okay, guys, there is a point where all of those things, kind of all those bullets that I just mentioned, come together. And I, as the creator of this channel and the person who is presenting some information to the world that is going to give us a better understanding, all of us, myself, you, and you included, of how the mistress was involved in this horrific crime, why the judicial process needs to play out in a natural way as it would if she were not Nicole Kessinger, because I think most people can agree she was treated in a separate way, a special way, I'm sorry, because there are conversations that were had between the mistress and Chris Watts, who should absolutely be in prison, serving the rest of his life in prison, just as he has right now. He's a horrible, rotten, dirty bastard for doing what he did to his family. Horrible. No excuse for that man. Her involvement in this crime, as most people have suspected, or maybe you haven't, or maybe you're new to the case, we're going to walk y'all through it. I just have to be a little careful about what I say. There are things that are written down on paper, documented, shall we say, that investigators who investigated this crime in a very lackluster way, as we will be highlighting this, who were responsible for prosecuting anybody who had any criminal involvement in this, one of the most horrific crimes of our time, literally, had the responsibility to prosecute all those parties. So those people with those responsibilities to ensure justice were served, let's say there is involvement having to do with criminality along with Chris Watts and the tragedy that happened. And there are documents showing that this involvement existed. Just imagine the ways you can find documents in the form of data reports, communications, inter-office communications between the two parties, in this case being Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And still, even though there are those documents or those things written down and such, memorialized, shall we say, that it is clear law enforcement was privy to and was fully aware of the decision to not investigate her, not pursue her with charges or even pressure, but rather to treat her with kid gloves and allow her to not only walk away scot-free after behaving in ways and taking some actions that would find the average person facing a whole lot of heat and likely some hefty criminal consequences. Not only did she get to escape all of that, she was treated very well. Like she was special, above everyone else, maybe. Like she had something really valuable to share as far as justice was concerned, because really the investigators and the people in district attorney's office at this point in the game, when they were talking to her, should have only been concerned with pursuing justice for Shanann Watts, for Celeste Watts, and for an unborn baby Shanann was going to name Nico Watts, who never even got to be born into this world. I think we can probably all agree that their only concern should have been that pursuit of justice. But since it is known, and there are things written down, documented, and memorialized, reflecting Chris Watts' former mistress's criminal involvement in these horrible crimes that occurred, that those champions of justice had access to, and there's documents and things written down about that too. They still let her go, didn't prosecute her, and treated her the way that they did. Why is that? Those of you who watch this channel, who have, catch it sometimes, probably know around here we are very passionate about justice, and I fully believe, and I know many of you do too, that in order for our justice system to work, in order for us to really, say, this is my justice system that I can rely upon if ever I need it to defend my rights or to honor my freedoms or to, or to make sure that somebody who wrongs myself or my loved ones, that they receive the proper consequences that they should receive in the form of paying their debt back to society, or me if it's personal, right? If we want that justice system to exist, we have to give a shit about it. And we have to care when it fails or takes on the attitude of such privilege that power in that justice system seemingly arbitrarily pick and choose when justice is going to be applied or not. Or is that the issue there? Or is there something even more nefarious? Are certain people in positions of power needing to cover their ass for some reason? So that is a question I pose to you today, somewhat rhetorically, with exploring answers that are known to some of the questions that I just posed somewhat rhetorically. But I want us to think our way through this as well. So maybe together we can come to some of the same conclusions as those things that are memorialized and written down and documented about wrongdoings, perhaps criminal wrongdoings, that certain mistresses of certain of certain offenders, let's just Chris Watts, obviously I'm speaking about, maybe we're going to come to the same conclusion that those memorialized, written down documents would lead us to anyway. So I hope you catch me there. So let's just start out on this journey and take a look at how Nicole Kessinger was treated by law enforcement, evidence of what it is she knew about Chris Watts' relationship with Shanann Watts, about Shanann Watts that she never should have known, about that whole family in general that she never should have known, that she lied to law enforcement about. And okay, so she lied to law enforcement. She wanted to save some face. But no, she lied to law enforcement about these issues in a material way to make it look like the hook that does exist, that has her little ponytail caught in it. It's like the hook of criminal offenses and wrongdoing that should be charged and prosecuted, to try to soften that hook, to make it seem like it didn't exist. These are really big deals. That's what I'm trying to say here. So without further ado, I'm going to bring some content into the stream. So hopefully we can apply some of the more theoretical things I just said to some actual faxy facts, because we like facts around here. So again, welcome to those of you who are just coming in. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to say hi to you and hear what you have to say. Just got to change my view. All right. This is an amalgamation of various uploads that I've put out over the past maybe 9 months to a year, that I've taken a lot of time to put together and present to you in a very certain way to convey specific information to you in a manner that's not going to put my ass on the line. Honestly, let's just get right down to what it is. So we're going to start to put those pieces together and see what we find. So I do ask that you pay close attention. Videos. This is a part one of part two. And I actually made the part two members only under advisement. Concept for this one video.
Am I in trouble because I related to sex?
You're not in trouble. Is it criminal? No.
Well, in Colorado, destruction of evidence is a felony.
Is there concern that you're hiding something? Potentially.
Yeah, I'm worried.
I have information that I can best describe as being a bombshell.
Drum roll, please. There's our boy, the Honorable District Attorney, Michael J. Rourke.
It's hot.
Where is he? Where's Chris?
Daddy.
but not many. It's pretty short. There's like 10 or 12, and there's like a few from those days, but most of it is.
Hi.
Hello.
Nikki.
This is
Yeah,
Tammy.
Tammy.
Come in,
Nice to
Stacy.
meet you. There, I'm Stacy Galbraith. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? All right. Getting through it? Trying. Yeah. Did you get some therapy figured out? I'm waiting for the goods to get back to me on that, but I'm trying.
So Weld County's just, I had to write a letter yesterday for Weld County to approve to pay for her treatment.
Sorry, a couple things to point out here. So Stacy Galbraith and Tammy Lee just came in. I just spoke to somebody recently who is a personal friend of Stacy Galbraith, who shared with me what Stacy Galbraith's opinion on much of this was. And I don't have permission to share that, but I just do want to say that Stacy Galbraith no longer works for the CBI. So take from that what you will. So Tammy Lee and Stacy Galbraith, both CBI agents, agents walk in and like, oh, how you holding up? Yeah, I'm okay. Just struggling through. Me and my bald spot here, my long sleeves. And now what Kevin Kobach is saying here is important. So he's talking about, oh, well, I had to write a letter to Weld County. I had to write a letter so they would pay for her therapy because she's not well, let's hear exactly what he says.
Oh.
And then it's got to go through a board because it's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
Since she's not an eyewitness.
Because it's kind of unusual. She's not a lame air quote eyewitness, implying that she is not an eyewitness, that her value is not in her seeing something of a crime that was committed that has particular value to the prosecution of that crime and proving that it happened in the way that prosecutors want to portray it happened in a trial. She's not that. She's an air quote witness. So once again, what the fuck does that mean? Okay, so maybe there's air quote witnesses and that's fine. But, well, let's just keep seeing how the story unfolds.
Right.
But it sounded like there was not going to be any opposition to it. It's just a process.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you go through the text messages, Tammy and probably Stacy will be there.
Okay.
So you guys know each other. Or if they reach out to you, you know that they're not the media.
Yeah. Can you guys give me your cards?
Yeah.
I got everyone. Okay. I just
Thank
now
you.
with this new phone, it's like I got so many numbers that
Because that's her biggest fucking problem. Is worrying about if people are contacting her in the media or not. Doesn't matter if people are dead. Doesn't matter that she knows her part in how those fates played out. Doesn't matter. I love how she even just goes and rambles on about, the troubles of her having, so many contacts in her phone now. Let's just all take a moment to appreciate. We salute you, Nicole Kessinger.
So when you go through the text messages, Tammy and probably Stacy will be there.
Okay.
So you guys know each other. Or if they reach out to you, you know that they're not the media.
Yeah. Can you guys give me your cards?
Yeah.
I got everyone. Okay. I just
Thank
now
you.
with this new phone, it's like I got so many numbers that I'm sure.
Kevin Kobach acknowledges there that Nicole Kessinger's status as a witness is a little unusual, he says, because she's not an eyewitness. What is more unusual is her status as a protected witness, and her status as a protected witness that was granted by the FBI starting on the first day that she spoke with them. And here is what District Attorney Rourke had to say about Nicole Kessinger first speaking with the authorities. And then I'm going to tell you how it really went down.
The intense media coverage leads to an unexpected tip.
Law enforcement got a phone call from a woman named Nicole Kessinger. She said that she had information and was offering to be interviewed as part of this investigation to offer up to investigators what she knew.
As you're going to see later on in this video, when we look at some of Nicole Kessinger's mind-blowing statements from her final interview with law enforcement on August 26, 2018, Nicole Kessinger tends to not really care about anyone else, not a goddamn person in the world other than herself. So I don't believe that Nicole Kessinger started singing like a bird out of the kindness of her heart, wanting to help justice, or because she cared about what happened to Shanann, certainly not, or Bella, or Celeste. So why is it Nicole Kessinger ended up speaking to law enforcement, to the FBI on that first day, on the 15th, 2 days after the murder, on that very same day that she was declared by the FBI a protected witness? Why did she talk to them?
Check this out from the discovery. It should be noted that approximately 3 hours before the polygraph was scheduled to begin at 8 a.m., I received a phone call from Anadarko Regional Security Manager Tony Husky. Husky advised me he had reviewed Chris's computer, and it was possible Chris had started up a relationship with an Anadarko contracted employee.
Oh shit, I was muted. You did not hear my diatribe that ended with, so put that in your pipe and smoke it, Rourke. You missed all of that? I don't even know if I could recapture those moments. They were so from my heart. Ugh. Okay, I have to go grieve and figure out how I'm going to recap that for you. Okay, fine. Here we are. Urgh. I have to stop muting my mic. But there's so many bunny sounds in the background. I'm trying to protect you from the bunnies, but you probably don't need to be protected from them because they're little and vulnerable.
He had located emails between Chris and the contracted employee, Nicole or Nicole Kessinger. So we know that law enforcement knew about the affair at 5 a.m. on August 15th, 3 hours before the polygraph.
Now the video has no sound. This is what happened the other night. All right, bear with me. Be responsive here. Yeah, you do know how I feel about work here in chat, guys. Thank you. All right, we're doing. What the fuck happened here? I hope this is not what happened the other night because I never understood how that was a problem or would fix it. So do you hear me talking now? Anaphylaxis and friends. Do you guys hear me talking? Yes, you do. I can tell because my little circle is pulsing. Okay. Thank you, Thunder Chick. Now here's going to be the tricky part. I am. Oh, you're currently. Dang! Look at that. Say the name and she shall come. So hold it. Cold in the studio. Great name says I'm currently co-workers with Stacey Galbraith. She no longer works at CBI, like Kelly said. Stacey is a wonderful investigator, and I admire her in a field of incompetent men. B.S. Stacey, that is so amazing. That's similar to, and I think were you in chat once and we kind of talked, and then I talked very in depth with somebody who did work with her who said very similar things. So she sounds like a great person. Awesome. So that's so cool. All right. And so now I'm going to play the video, and this is where you're going to have to tell me if you can hear it or not. Okay. So I'm going to press play right now. I'm going to go back a couple seconds because Kessinger tends to not really care about anyone else, not a goddamn person in the world other than herself. So I don't believe that Nicole Kessinger started singing like a bird out of the kindness of her heart, wanting to help justice, or because she cared about what happened to Shanann. Certainly not. So did you just hear me talking about her not singing like a bird out of the kindness of her heart, or because she cared about Shanann? Certainly not. Did you just hear those words said? Okay, very good. All right, moving forward then. Or Bella or Celeste. So why is it Nicole Kessinger ended up speaking to law enforcement, to the FBI on that first day, on the 15th, 2 days after the murder, on that very same day that she was declared by the FBI a protected witness? Why did she talk to them?
Check this out from the discovery. It should be noted that approximately 3 hours before the polygraph was scheduled to begin at 8 a.m., I received a phone call from Anadarko Regional Security Manager Tony Husky. Husky advised me he had reviewed Chris's computer, and it was possible Chris had started up a relationship with an Anadarko contracted employee. He had located emails between Chris and the contracted employee, Nicole or Nicole Kessinger. So we know that law enforcement knew about the affair at 5 a.m. on August 15th, 3 hours before the polygraph exam was about to start. And it was not until a couple hours later that Nicole Kessinger called law enforcement.
If Anadarko is like any other corporation in America, then if something like this were to happen and they were to be implicating their in doing anything wrong, whether it be from an affair or having something to do with such an egregious crime, they would need to let that employee know immediately. So was it the fact that Tony Husky caught on to the affair between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger via the emails that he located that triggered Anadarko to contact Nicole Kessinger about it,
that triggered Nicole Kessinger to finally go to law enforcement. I think that is more likely the case than Nicole going to law enforcement on her own volition because she has a strong conscience.
Okay, so let me tell you something. So that is in fact the case. So what really happened, and there is, I don't want to say the E word, but there are this story I'm about to share with you right now is memorialized. It's documented. Perhaps it's written down somewhere in the form of communications, within an agency or between persons or who aren't in an agency or otherwise. Okay, that's all I can say. Please try to read between the lines. Nicole Kessinger told her father about this like a full day, more than 24 hours before she and her father, Dwayne, express in their story when they tell law enforcement, because they had a plan. And I mean, we should have known this all along. When this was shown and explained to me, it was so crystal clear. And, it was like, well, it's going to be risky to execute this plan because I do believe that she, to some degree, or maybe her dad just knows her well enough. Her dad had to have been aware of the criminal exposure that she rightfully had in these very serious charges. So they determined at a certain level of, a pressure of a certain number of pounds of trigger pressure that they felt, they were going to have to go ahead and execute that plan. It was the, save the skanky empanada ass plan. And it was that notification from Tony Husky to law enforcement that was enough poundage of trigger pressure for them. The question is, how did they find out about that? And I do not know the answer, but I do know that they found out, and I do know that that fact is memorialized.
Let's take a listen and go a little further.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what? When I deleted those? I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you already said, but you removed text messages?
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it. And then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me for the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if you've heard all these lies that Nicole Kessinger has told before, don't you worry, because we're just getting warmed up.
I am so out of breath.
Before we get into the stunning admissions and statements that she made in her fifth and final interview with law enforcement on August 28th, 2018, let's just briefly recall the basis of what she said to the FBI on that very first day when she met with them, the first of her 5 interviews. Remember, it was on that very same day, on August 15th, before the first of her 5 interviews ended, that the FBI decided that Nicole Kessinger will be a protected witness. And okay, just full disclosure for the sake of being factual and, and just real, what it says in the document in parentheses in all capital letters on that FBI letterhead document on the date and the time I described it, like as soon as they were talking to her for the first time, before Shanann's remains were even recovered, poor woman. What it says in all capital letters is protect identity. Okay, so I say protect witness there. I've been called out on it several times. But if you are an FBI agent and you are interviewing someone pertaining to this kind of a crime that was committed and you are noting in all capital letters, you're going to protect their identity. Why else would that be if they were not a witness or a suspect? Huh? So which category do they want to put her in?
I met Chris at work, and we kind of talked in passing and then started to get to know each other. We started hanging out pretty frequently around, I want to say like the last week of June, somewhere around there. He informed me that he did have 2 kids, and he also told me that he was currently in the process of a separation from his wife. As far as I knew, that was becoming pretty finalized.
Now, one of the fundamental problems is that when Nicole Kessinger started dating Chris Watts, divorce was not on the horizon whatsoever for Shanann and Chris. Nobody was planning it. It had not. Now, like to your point, Edward, whether they should have been heading in that direction or not is obviously a matter of opinion. They were the only ones in the relationship. I mean, the trajectory of their relationship did look like it was heading into, orange to red hot crisis territory. In my opinion, as an outsider, but nevertheless, it didn't seem like a conversation they had on the table, at least. Been discussed, but divorce was not going to be in their future at all. I think even when Chris Watts started dating Nicole Kessinger, divorce was not in his future with his marriage to his wife, Shanann. Well, we know at least that is true because in the only email correspondence between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger, which all happened on June 12th, 2018, Nicole Kessinger says this to Chris Watts.
I'm looking for someone to build a beautiful life with. Seems so simple, but so unrealistic sometimes. Build something similar to what you have done with your wife and those cute little girls. I do believe in karma, so out of respect for myself, you, and your family, I think it's best if we keep that friendship at work.
It's only at a certain point during that relationship, 6 weeks as they tell it, did the idea of divorce become a reality. That fundamental lie that Nicole Kessinger told law enforcement from right off the bat is a lie that she had to contend with throughout all of the 5 hours upon hours of interviews with law enforcement all throughout. And I hope she's still contending with it today in her conscience. After all, as I know that y'all know, this was an absolutely horrific, egregious, unthinkable case that deserved the most earnest, hardworking investigation and investigators, and nothing but the truth from anybody who could provide a truth that might allow investigators, the families of the victims, and the world to better understand this heinous crime. So everybody, get your blankie, hold it tight, grab something to bite hard, because just at the moment when we need an earnest, honest investigator and champion of justice, in walks, dun, dun, dun.
My name is Michael Rourke. I'm the district attorney here in Weld County, Colorado. I was the lead prosecutor on the Christopher Watts case.
And if you truly want complete justice for the victims of this case, then right here, my friend, is one of our biggest problems. And although District Attorney Rourke might not lie as much as Nicole Kessinger as it relates to this case, in fact, he certainly doesn't. I mean, she's got the record hands down on that. He does tell lies to the public, to the people that he's supposed to be serving, and the people around the world who are terrorized by this case. Oh. So now I just need to say, I never went back and fixed this. There's like a little video screw up for like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, where I'm talking, but the video that should go with it just isn't there. I don't know what I did, guys. I don't know what I did. Listen, y'all. Before I started this channel, I was like, YouTube what? Upload, download? What's the difference? Huh? What? Okay, so I do my best, but just know that's just how it is for a minute or two. He tells blatant lies about what he knows about Nicole Kessinger's part in this crime, about what she knew, about what perhaps she did. Clearly, this was an attempt to just keep everyone happy so he could get his conviction, but not try or even begin to actually investigate the case, to do the work. But maybe there were also more sinister reasons for his lies.
My name is Michael Rourke. I'm the district attorney here in Weld County, Colorado. I was the lead prosecutor on the Christopher Watts case. Nicole Kessinger turned out to have information that I can best describe as being a bombshell.
Let's take a quick look at what it is we know that District Attorney Rourke knows about Nicole. Oh, and by the way, I'm District Attorney Rourke. And when you actually come and ask me what that bombshell information is, since that's quite a way to categorize information when you're talking about a case of this worldwide notoriety and magnitude, and you ask me what it was, I'm going to tell you to go away, leave me alone, talk to my wife. Kessinger and her role in the investigation and her role in Chris Watts' life during the time that was being investigated, which was prior to and contemporaneous to the murders of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico.
The girlfriend you referenced in court, can you give us a better idea of her role in the investigation, how forthcoming she was, and how she helped?
She originally came forward and spoke to investigators on her own volition. Prior to the time, unfortunately, that she came in and spoke with investigators, she had deleted all of the information off of her phone that had any connection between her and Chris Watts. That hampered the investigation. That hampered our ability to get that electronic digital connection between the two.
So what's it called when somebody intentionally does something that hampers law enforcement's investigation into, you know, the greatest degree of felony crime a human being can commit? What's that called? Let's have a Jeopardy music moment. What's that called? What's that called? What's that called? There's a couple names for it. Put them in chat. I know you've got them.
She was interviewed on multiple occasions. I believe that for the most part, she was forthcoming in the course of those investigations.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what? When I deleted those? I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you already said, but you removed text messages?
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it. And then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me for the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward?
Yes.
Okay. So just for context,
yes.
When people delete stuff off phones, usually we go, hold on a second.
No. It wasn't malicious at all. It wasn't malicious at all. He lied to me. It just hurt. Like, I had never felt like he'd ever lied to me before. And it was a big lie. I mean, telling somebody that you're in the midst of a divorce and then you have a wife that has a 15-week-old baby on the way is a huge, huge thing. And I was very taken back, and it was hurt. And so at that point, I deleted it. I had a few more quick things to say to him, and then I just got rid of him. That's literally what I did. I just cut him out of my life. It would have honestly been like a bad breakup kind of thing. Like, if none of this other stuff would have happened,
it would have been like a bad breakup kind of thing. If like none of this other stuff would have happened, you know, if none of this murder and shit, if the family annihilation didn't happen, the murder of the 2 toddlers and the unborn baby and the pregnant woman, if all that didn't happen, this all would have been reduced to a bad breakup. I mean, come on, man. If that doesn't define, you know, an archetypal statement of a narcissist, I do not know what does. Okay. I do not know what does. I just have to point this comment out. Molly I'm so sorry. I keep messing up your name. Says they had already protected her before she said she deleted the evidence. Molly, that is so perceptive. And as this story unfolds a little more, that is going to become a really critical point. I didn't even recognize to pull out as a critical point. That was really perceptive. I just want everyone to pick up on that as well.
that's what it would have been. And that would have been the end of it.
The information was not destroyed because there was anything in there that would be harmful to you or potentially to Chris at this point, but harmful to you in particular. That's not what you did it.
No.
You did it out of...
Oh, bullshit.
Excuse my language. This guy's an asshole, so I'm getting rid of him, and I'm getting this stuff off my phone.
That was like me kicking him out of my life.
Okay.
And then, like I said, and then realizing that he lied, that was when I was like, okay, maybe his family is in danger and they're not coming back and they're not staying with a friend.
Okay, so what she really wants to say is actually that was me trying to make sure there wasn't any evidence of me encouraging him to poison his family so that they could do away with his family, because I was so jealous of his family because I wanted to be with him so much, and then I would help him do that. But oops, did I just say that? But maybe that was something like what she was really trying to get rid of. But maybe she didn't do it quick enough, because as we see in several instances, she doesn't realize how fast law enforcement is able to get their hands on the records of her communications until after the fact, till after they've already seen them. So if you caught all that, just let that sink in for a moment. And then next time you're going to tell it back to me so I don't have to say it again.
Mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
He's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Nicole Kessinger turned out to have the information that I can best describe as being a bombshell.
It's hot.
Where is he? Where's Chris?
Okay, let me just answer this from Dave H here, just so to get everyone on the same page here a little bit. Something I did find out a while ago, that it's a long story. This is my friend Alex. For those of you who know him, he is, I feel like it's almost like this role that I do. Okay. So he is a criminal defense attorney. He is very, very well respected. He started a non-for-profit, like a pro bono agency for people in a community in North Jersey that can't usually afford representation, and due to their, demographic, socioeconomic situation, are largely underrepresented and just get shit on. He's a really good person. Anyway, I finally got him interested in this case after I got Watsy obsession with it. And as predicted, once he started reading the discovery documents, he was fully drawn in. He was all in. It's a long story why this all ended. Some of you do know the story. But anyway, my point here, and to tell Dave H. and all the rest of you this, is he had several conversations and physical meetings, not for the purpose of discussing this, but just so happened they were in one another's present and did discuss this with somebody who is really close to the investigation of Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger, okay? And that's all I can say. Anyway, much to my friend Alex's chagrin, he shared with me the fact that this person told him that they did, in fact, recover all of the text messages. And what I mean by that is very specific. It's important. You're going to see why, I don't know, maybe in about 20 minutes or half an hour. So try to remember this too. They recovered all of the SMS style text messages, like your standard text messages that would come through as a text messages between myself and you or anyone else on a phone. The data that they didn't recover was all of the third-party app communications. And you know why they didn't recover it? It wasn't because Detective Michael Prill wasn't onto it, as you're going to read right out of the pages of the discovery in about 20 or 30 minutes. Oh, no, touche, touche, touche. It is because the Honorable Champion of Justice, Michael J. Rourke, cock-blocked it before they could actually get to that evidence to memorialize it. Okay. Wait, just one moment. 2 slices, please. My son's offering me dinner. I'm going to take it. Okay.
But not many. It's pretty short. There's like 10 or 12, and there's like a few from those days, but most of it is.
Hi.
Hello.
Nikki.
This is
Yes.
Tammy.
Tammy.
Come in,
Nice to
Stacey.
meet you. There, I'm Stacey Galbraith. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? All right. Getting through it?
Trying.
Yeah. Did you get some therapy figured out?
I'm waiting for you guys to get back to me on that, but I'm trying.
So Weld County's just, I had to write a letter yesterday for Weld County to approve, to pay for her treatment.
Oh.
And then it's got to go through a board. because it's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
Since she's not an eyewitness.
Right.
But it sounded like there was not going to be any opposition to it. It's just a process.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you go through the text messages, Tammy and probably Stacy will be there.
Okay.
So you guys know each other. Or if they reach out to you,
You don't have to worry about the media.
Can you guys give me your cards?
Yeah.
I got grab you one. Okay. I just
Thank
now
you.
with this new phone, it's like I got so many numbers that I'm sure.
Kevin Kovac acknowledges there that Nicole Kessinger's status as a witness is a little unusual, he says, because she's not an eyewitness. What is more unusual is her status as a protected witness, and her status as a protected witness that was granted by the FBI starting on the first day that she spoke with them. And here is what District Attorney Rourke had to say about Nicole Kessinger first speaking with the authorities, and then I'm going to tell you how it really went down.
The intense media coverage leads to an unexpected tip.
Law enforcement got a phone call from a woman named Nicole Kessinger. She said that she had information and was offering to be interviewed as part of this investigation to offer up to investigators what she knew.
As you're going to see later on in this video, when we look at some of Nicole Kessinger's, I'm so sorry, I should totally jump back, and we're watching this twice, maybe thrice. I don't think so, but I'm sorry. I'll get back to current time. Sorry. I just really want my pizza, I guess. I love how Stephen Sean says, did we ever find anything else about Jim, the other key holder? That's freaking amazing. I love that you said that. That's so great. Mind-blowing
key holder
alone. Statements from her
and the contracted employee, Nicole or Nick.
There we go. I'm sorry about that, guys.
Caught on to the affair between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger via the emails that he located that triggered Anadarko to contact Nicole Kessinger about it, that triggered Nicole Kessinger to finally go to law enforcement. I think that is more likely the case than Nicole going to law enforcement on her own volition because she has a strong conscience.
She's not a good person.
Let's take a listen and go a little further.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what? When I deleted those? I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, that you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you already said, but you removed text messages?
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it. And then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me.
You know, that makes so little sense. I have probably listened to her say that maybe about 8,000 times at this point, and it's only been until recently, not even if I could do it now, where I can repeat it, because it just doesn't make sense. It was the hurt that made me delete it, and it was the lies that made me, what the fuck did she say? I don't even know if she says that. We have to listen to that again. And hey, welcome, Make Taiwan Great Again. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome.
It was the hurt that made me delete it.
Okay.
And then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me.
Oh, okay. I got ya. Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you so much. That makes perfect sense now. Thank you so much for clarifying that.
For the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward?
Yes.
Got it. Now, if you've heard all these lies that Nicole Kessinger has told before, don't you worry, because we're just getting warmed up.
I am so out of breath.
Before we get into the stunning admissions and statements that she made in her fifth and final interview with law enforcement on August 28th, 2018, let's just briefly recall the basis of what she said to the FBI on that very first day when she met with them, the first of her 5 interviews. Remember, it was on that very same day, on August 15th, before the first of her 5 interviews ended, that the FBI decided that Nicole Kessinger will be a protected witness.
I met Chris at work, and we kind of talked in passing, and then started to get to know each other. We started hanging out pretty frequently around, I want to say like the last week of June, somewhere around there. He informed me that he did have 2 kids, and he also told me that he was currently in the process of a separation from his wife. As far as I knew, that was becoming pretty finalized.
Now, one of the fundamental problems is that when Nicole Kessinger started dating Chris Watts, divorce was not on the horizon whatsoever for Shanann and Chris. Dude, I really went far back earlier. I see where I'm supposed to be now. I didn't even get you guys close to that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so we have the entrance of the Honorable Michael J. Rourke and this crime about what she knew, about what perhaps she did. Clearly, this was, and now this is where I was saying, I apologize. When I started my channel, I didn't know what upload and download were, and I really didn't. Sometimes still get a little confused, but just kidding on that. So what I'm saying, the audio is not going to have the video, the visual that should go with it for like a minute and a half or maybe close to 2 minutes, and I apologize for that. But really, the words are what's important here anyway. It's an attempt to just keep everyone happy so he could get his conviction, but not try or even begin to actually investigate the case, to do the work. But maybe there were also more sinister reasons for his lies.
My name is Michael J. Rourke. I'm the district attorney here in Weld County, Colorado. I was the lead prosecutor on the Christopher Watts case. Nicole Kessinger turned out to have information that I can best describe as being a bombshell.
Let's take a quick look at what it is we know that District Attorney Rourke knows about Nicole Kessinger and her role in the investigation and her role in Chris Watts' life during the time that was being investigated, which was prior to and contemporaneous to the murders of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico.
The girlfriend you referenced in court, can you give us a better idea of her role in the investigation, how forthcoming she was, and how she helped?
She originally came forward and spoke to investigators on her own volition. Prior to the time, unfortunately, that she came in and spoke with investigators, she had deleted all of the information off of her phone that had any connection between her and Chris Watts. That hampered the investigation. That hampered our ability to get that electronic digital connection between the two. She was interviewed on multiple occasions. I believe that for the most part, she was forthcoming in the course of those investigations.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what? When I deleted those? I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you already said, but you removed text messages?
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it. And then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me for the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward?
Yes.
Okay. So just for context,
yes.
When people delete stuff off phones, usually we go,
No. It wasn't
that's why I
malicious
wanted,
at all. It wasn't malicious at all. He lied to me. It just hurt. Like, I had never felt like he'd ever lied to me before. And it was a big lie. I mean, telling somebody that you're in the midst of a divorce and then you have a wife that has a 15-week-old baby on the way is a huge, huge thing. And I was very taken back, and it was hurt. And so at that point, I deleted it. I had a few more quick things to say to him, and then I just got rid of him. That's literally what I did. I just cut him out of my life. It would have honestly been like a bad breakup kind of thing. Like, if none of this other stuff would.
I just have to point out again when she says that every time I think this is one of the worst things she says. You know, honestly, it would have just been like a bad breakup kind of thing if none of this other stuff had happened. You know, if all the lives weren't lost, if the family wasn't annihilated, if the 3 and 4-year-old little innocent girls' lives weren't just destroyed in the most horrific way of horror and betrayal and violence you can possibly imagine, almost. If the pregnant woman and her unborn baby were not violently taken from this earth by the person that the pregnant woman probably trusted most in this earth. If all of those little extra details didn't happen, this basically would have been like one of them really bad breakups. You know what, NK? Take that brown bikini and shove it up because you are worthless.
Would have happened, that's what it would have been. That would have been the end of it.
The information was not destroyed because there was anything in there that would be harmful to you or potentially to Chris at this point, but harmful to you in particular. That's not why you did it.
No.
You did it out of, excuse my language, this guy's an asshole, So I'm getting rid of him, and I'm getting this stuff off my phone.
That was like me kicking him out of my life.
Okay.
And then, like I said, and then realizing that he lied, that was when I was like, okay, maybe his family is in danger and they're not coming back and they're not staying with a friend.
Okay, so I've spoken about this in a number of other videos, so I don't want to belabor the point, although it is a critical point as we are looking at the career of District Attorney Rourke, his actions as it is concerned with the Chris Watts case and the murders of Shanann, Bella Celeste, and baby Nico, and also as far as the way that he characterizes Miss Nicole Kessinger. He uses interesting words here, such as hampers the investigation, saying rather than, I don't know, she obstructs the investigation, which is a felony in Colorado, as is destruction of evidence, which we all know is a crime that Nicole Kessinger committed, as she even says so herself. It's important to know that the entire reason Nicole Kessinger gave law enforcement for deleting Chris Watts' messages and anything else having to do with him off of her phone is a complete lie. The reason that she gives them is that she did not know that Chris Watts' wife, Shanann, was pregnant. And it wasn't until Tuesday morning, the day after the murders, when she was reading the newspaper, did she find that out. I have proven time and time again on this channel, as have other people, that the fact that Nicole Kessinger did not know Shanann was pregnant prior to that Tuesday, the day after the murders, is a complete and unequivocal lie. It's just as important to know that District Attorney Rourke also must have known that the reason Nicole Kessinger gave law enforcement for deleting all of Chris Watts' information off of her phone, including call records and text messages, he also knows that's total BS, total lie. Through the course of the investigation, as it outlines in the discovery, there are several times during the time period while Nicole Kessinger was dating Chris Watts, before and after, that Nicole Kessinger Googled the name Shanann Watts, which would have brought her to Shanann Watts' Facebook page, where Shanann Watts, during the course of her pregnancy, talked many, many, many times about how excited she was to be pregnant and posted about the baby Watts to be in her belly at that moment. And District Attorney Rourke saw all of that. What else? Yeah, Victoria, it should have, and I've gone over this before, just looking at the letter of the law in Colorado with what she did with the electronic communications, which is evidence treated just the same as any other evidence in Colorado, with the level of the charges that Chris Watts was facing. Even say if she was accessory to nothing else, she should have had 2 to 3 felony charges slapped on her, it appears. And there have been people who are actually attorneys who agree with me on that after doing that same research. But, you know, we don't know. It should have been something. And there's no debate about whether it was in felony range or not. Did District Attorney Rourke know about Nicole Kessinger as it relates to this case? Well, District Attorney Rourke knew about the information contained within Investigator Prill's summary in the discovery that precedes the official discovery timeline of the phone data extraction. Omitting some important things, but we'll talk about that later. It says, during my review of the data extracted from the phones belonging to Chris Watts, Shanann Watts, and Nicole Kessinger, certain information was learned. Agent Darren Ford conducted logical extractions of the data from the phones. Guys, hold it. I'm sorry. This right here, guys, this is really fucking important to understanding District Attorney Rourke's big cock block move, okay? But this is really important to understand here. I'm going to paraphrase it for you before I read through it here, because then when I want you here, I want you to be able to think about it again, then we're going to talk about it. Michael Prill, who I think was a detective on this case, who was actually interested in justice, I do believe that. We see actual evidence of that.
He's the one who drafted out the official discovery timeline and the narrative before that about the phone extractions. Okay. So he's saying, yeah, okay, so we got to the, text messages, the standard text messages, which again is what I said that my friend Alex learned from somebody who is right in the pocket of this investigation, like couldn't be closer. Some people might consider the key person, okay? That they recovered every single one of the text messages, like standard text messages. That's no problem. They did not recover the third-party app communications, which is what Michael Prill is about to talk about right here. Out of his own curiosity, he saw some file extension names that didn't look right, so he kept looking deeper. And he discovered that there was communications and storage activity on an underground level that the typical Cellbrite extractions wouldn't pick up from an iPhone at that time because technology is always evolving. Did anyone watch the Karen Reed trial and How's Long to Die in the Cold, right? So he's saying, okay, man, but hey, listen, I got curious. I want to know what the heck's going on with these guys. He clearly was looking into Nicole Kessinger too. Clearly, he, the author of that official discovery timeline, put the first chronological event towards the charges of these 3+ homicides. The first event on that timeline is what? You guys know. Some of you do. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you. And you might be shocked. You might be surprised. But I don't think you would have thought was this. The first event on the official discovery timeline towards these crimes happens on September 1st of the year 2017. Interesting, because the homicides don't occur until August 13th, 2018. So what exactly is that event, you might say? Kelly, creator of What's the Obsession? You're obsessed. Tell us. What is it? It is Nicole Kessinger Google searching the name Shanann Watts. 9 months before Empanada and piece of shit self-report even having met one another, let alone dating. Back to Michael Prill's introduction to the timeline, the phone chronology timeline report here. He's like, holy shit, man, I found a mother lode. There's all kinds of crap underneath the surface here, but our normal extraction didn't do it. We're going to have to go back in with some expert knowledge, awareness that it's there, maybe a different, strategic, approach and probably some different technology. I'm going to go get a new warrant for all this stuff that's a level deeper inside the phone than just the text messages, the third-party communication stuff, and the secret calculator app, all that. I'm going to go get a warrant for it today. Damn. There might be a lot more information in there we don't know about. You know what that warrant would be looking into? Not only Chris Watts' phone and information, but because he was all up in the skanky empanada shizzle whizzle for the past however long, it was going to be all like soaking skanky empanada too. Obviously, probably would have led for, I would imagine, a warrant of that level of exploration into her phone. After someone sensible like Michael Prill started putting this together, be like, dude, she tried to destroy her SIM card? What'd she do? Put it in her personal shredder? You know what I mean, right? That's a joke. Or like she deleted everything on the phone. Like she's got to be hiding something. I'm going to get a warrant for her phone too. I bet a judge would have signed it. So what is the date of that, you might ask? Well, it's Halloween, of course. October 31st, 2018. When does Michael J. Rourke go to North Carolina to visit the Ruseks to, in my opinion, convince them to accept the plea and take the death penalty off the table? Don't think too hard about it. I'm going to hook you up and I'm going to tell you. November 1st. Yeah, it's a true story. When does he return? November 4th. When do they reach a plea deal agreement? November 6th. If you didn't catch all that, just let it float around a little bit. We'll return to it. Guys, this is so important. I cannot stress enough. In conversations with Ford, he advised that the Northern Colorado Forensic Laboratory does not possess technology to perform the physical data extractions from Apple devices. Thus, I discovered the extracted data is not inclusive of all data stored amongst the assorted applications within a given device, nor does activity involving those applications necessarily reflect in the data extracted. For example, Watts had a secret calculator application uploaded to his phone. This application, by all appearances, is an operable calculator, but when users enter a secret passcode, the application reveals its true purpose: a concealed storage device for photographs, videos, content. They didn't just take it off of Chris Watts' phone because the person who had previously did that extraction didn't know it was there, because technology is always changing. They didn't have the awareness of it. Michael Prill, because he was doing such a deep investigation based off his own curiosity, as he says, was able to find these curious file extensions, which alerted him to the fact that there was a deeper level of things hiding in there. So at that point, it required a fresh warrant. Hacks, even a private browser. In mid-July 2018, Watts began transferring images from his camera application into the secret application. This activity is not reflected within the phone's timeline. Locating those transferred images proved challenging, as it was predicated on mere curiosity. I searched through the images stored within the data files featured in the Celebrate report. Locating an image not highlighted in the timeline, I reviewed the path within the file information and noticed it included the words secret calculator. Using the find feature, I searched the 12,000 images stored in the phone's memory using the keyword secret calculator. I located a vast collection of images otherwise undetected during my review that are stored within this application. In the near future, a follow-up warrant will be sought. This is important, to manually search through this phone and access the secret calculator. That search will include any additional photographs or videos, any browser activity, and information related to this installation date. The last sentence in this report says, investigation continues. Please forward to the district attorney's office. End of report. Do you guys compute? So on this day, October 31st, 2018, Michael Prill is like, yo, dog, ho, 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 ho. Bitch installed a secret calculator app and it has all this jam in it. We don't even know what they could have been doing on that. You better believe that when he installed that secret calculator app, I would imagine that along with that app, as part of the app or in an app simultaneously, but, in that same contemporaneously too, when he put in the secret calculator app, they decided on some kind of a third-party communication system they were going to use. It's written down in documents and places that they were used. Okay, guys, they were used. There was so much more communication going on beyond just what they were able to recover from the text messages. Okay. So on October 31st, 2018, he's like, yo, Rourke dog, I found all this stuff. I'm just, I'm getting a new search warrant, filled out the paperwork for you. You're a lazy fuck. You don't like to do that kind of stuff. Here, I did for you. I put it in that purple ink you like too. That's right. Yeah, show your wife that. And so we're just gonna. It's on the way to the judge already. Should come back tomorrow. We are gonna have us a Christmas morning tomorrow. See what we find in that secret calculator app and those third-party communication apps between Chris Watts and his mistress. Ho ho ho! This might become an interesting ball game really soon. And Rourke was like, "Shit, man." Steve Wren, I need you to go buy me 2 tickets immediately to North Carolina. That's right. Where do they live in North Carolina? Can't think of it right now. To where the Rusicks live in North Carolina. Stat. Make sure you get me one of those seats with leg room, but make sure I get the little pin with the airplane on it like the kids do. I like that, right? All right. We got to go see the Rusicks now. well, can't we just wait a couple more days? I have some things to do, No, we have to go now. Literally got on a plane the next day. This leads us to the question, why wasn't Rourke like, high five back? Yeah, doggy dog, Prill. Awesome. Execute that. Get that signature on that search warrant. Execute it. Let's see what we find. Maybe this will bring us to justice more swiftly or more completely for the sake of the victims, because I am the Honorable District Attorney Rourke, champion of justice for Weld County. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. But no, instead of that, he's running from it. And in my opinion, and I think there is evidence to show this, even in his own words, running to North Carolina as fast as he can to convince the Rousseks to accept the plea, all this bullshit about the death penalty that we all know was never going to be an issue anyway. He stays there for 2.5 days, comes back within 36 hours, a plea deal agreement has been reached. Something important to understand about this report by Detective Michael Prill is that it is dated at 3:08 on 10/30/2018, or October 30th. I'm sorry, it's October 30th. Halloween's the 31st, right? Okay, so I may have messed up that. Or is Halloween the 30th? It was on the 30th. Is there 31 days in October? I've never been able to remember which months have 30 days, 31 days. 30 days has September, April, May, and what? Something Ember? I don't know. 2018. So where was the next place this report was going to go? To the district attorney's office. And you better believe straight away. The date that Chris Watts pled guilty to the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, and some additional charges with aggravating circumstances, and to handle the crime in the death of baby Nico, who was not yet born. That date was November 6th, 8 days after this report was generated. Now, contained in this report generated by Detective Michael Prill, there are some important things. There is the search for Shanann Watts that heads off that timeline that certainly would have stood out boldly to District Attorney Rourke from September 1st, 2017, well before District Attorney is aware of this. Nicole or Chris Watts claimed that they ever had met well before that time. He also would have read all of the lines, the timeline event entries that noted the various searches during the relationship span of Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger, where she had Googled Shanann's name. And he would have learned very quickly that when doing so, you would have gone to Shanann's Facebook page, where she would have spoken excitedly and proudly about her family and about her baby, who is still inside her belly, that she was so super excited for. Baby Watts, as she called little Nico on her Facebook posts. District Attorney Rourke also would have known, because he just read it in the report, that Michael Prill anticipated on generating more search warrants to more completely search the phones for things that are hidden underneath the surface, like this hidden calculator app that he explained. Took some effort to really find it, to get in there, to find the contents of it, because, well, it's supposed to be secret. And I guess for even people who know how to extract information from a phone, it still remained pretty secret if it was not for Michael Prill's commitment to finding the truth. District Attorney Rourke would have had a very clear understanding that between all of the messages and information that was deleted by Nicole Kessinger and all of the information that we now know was hidden into the depths of the cell phone of at least Chris Watts and possibly Nicole Kessinger as well, that what he did know about Nicole Kessinger was pretty damn incriminating. And what he didn't know, well, oh my gosh, there was a whole lot he didn't know. And the nature of that information must have been something interesting, because she and he, Nicole and Chris, have been trying so damn hard to conceal it.
Nicole Kessinger turned out to have information that I can best describe as being a bombshell.
How would you know, jackass? Because when your colleague told you that he was about to get the warrant that probably would have given you access to the actual bombshell information, oh, and homie, you know what it is, and I do too, and that's a big problem for you, isn't it, Rourke? Yeah, it is. You didn't follow up with it. You ran from it. You hid it. You swept it under the rug and have done everything in your power since to pretend it never happened. So what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah? Is that true, District Attorney Rourke? She has information that could just be described as being a bombshell. What exactly could that possibly be? We know that she was not an eyewitness because we overhear that being said during one of her interviews when there is talk between the agents from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Take a listen.
Yes.
Tammy?
Tammy. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm Stacey Galbraith. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? All right. Getting through it. Trying. Yeah.
Stressing out.
Stressing out. Yeah, you look stressed out. Did you get some therapy figured out?
I'm waiting for you guys to get back to me on that, but I'm trying.
It'll help. Yeah. Does Hazel need to?
Yeah, we're going to see if Hazel comes in. So Weld County's just, I had to write a letter yesterday for Weld County to approve, to pay for her treatment.
Oh.
And then it's got to go through a board because it's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
Since she's not an eyewitness.
Right.
But it sounded like there was not going to be any opposition to it. It's just a process.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you go through the text messages, Tammy and probably Stacey will be there.
Okay.
So you guys know each other.
Okay.
Or if they reach out to you, you know that they're not the media.
Yeah. Can you guys give me your cards?
Yeah.
I can grab you one. Okay. I just,
Thank
now
you.
with this new phone, it's like I got so many numbers that I'm
who had an affair with Chris Watts, told our partners at the Denver Post that she hardly knew anything about Shanann and that she had only recently started a relationship with Chris. Well, there's now evidence to suggest that she knew about Shanann almost a year before the murder.
Contact 7 investigates Jace Larson here in the studio with that part of this grim story. Jace?
Yeah, guys, police interviewed Nicole Kessinger, the other woman. She came forward to police about the same time that Watts' employer, Anadarko, had found emails indicating a relationship between the two. This is Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts on a secret trip together the month before he killed his family. The two took pictures and videos during their secret time together in July. Nicole later talked to police.
And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. And started telling me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. It was like right around Father's Day too.
She learned he was married, even though she says he didn't wear a wedding ring.
The thing is he was never hostile. It was never anything aggressive. Like even when he spoke of his wife and the fact that they were separating, it was never like ill. It was
Who the fuck says it was never like ill? Even if you're trying to get across the point that somebody spoke like kindly and not, they weren't like an asshole when they were talking about someone else. Who speaks like this? Where do these people come from?
it was still very kind. It was just like, this is not working.
The other woman claims she met Watts in June. She says she thought Watts was at the end of his divorce proceedings.
I didn't know his significant other's name for a while. And then I think he told me his kids' names pretty quick.
But police had found her internet searches from the year before. Kessinger searched the name Shanann Watts in September of 2017.
Did he ever tell you that he loved you?
Yes, he did.
Did you ever tell him the same?
A couple times.
By this June, Watts was hiding photos in a phone app that looked like a calculator.
I mean,
I'm so sorry. I'm interrupting this midstream, but I just need to, I'm seeing these because I've gone so deep on the podcast thing. And welcome, Carolina. Whoops, I gotta make this bigger. Carolina. Oh gosh. Am I gonna pronounce this wrong? Is this gonna be one of those issues of tilde or no tilde? And people are gonna get mad at me. I'm just gonna call you Carolina. I'm so happy you're here. He won't ever talk about this case. His wife had a podcast. Rourke was on, and someone asked him a question. He refused to answer it. Oh, honey, no. He said plenty. He said plenty. I'll see if I can find a link to it. I did a whole live stream about it and played most of it. The podcast itself has come up and down, but don't worry. I have hard copies of it, lots of them. I actually think I can probably like, and you get a hard copy of Rourke's wife's podcast. What was it called? not secondary trauma, but prosecutorial something trauma. With the Honorable Michael J. Rourke. Anyway, I'll be like Oprah, throwing them out to everybody. He says plenty about this case, and what he does say is pretty shocking. I will find the link to that live stream that I did, and maybe we can have a little discussion about it in a few moments. But I just had to say that. I'm always chomping on the bit when I see someone say like podcast and Rourke's wife in the same sentence, because I know where it's going.
Told me, he's like, we're house broke all the time. I was just like, that's unfortunate. And I asked him, I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, the reason I ask him this is because if I get into a relationship with somebody, I want to know like what kind of baggage that they have. I think that's important.
Kessinger says even looking back now, knowing she says that he lied to her, she didn't see all of this coming.
And to this day, even after everything that I found out, I still look back at that and I don't see any red lights with the way that he spoke of his family.
Nicole Kessinger did cooperate with police. She says she went to them when she started suspecting that Watts was behind his family's disappearance. Guys.
Jace Larson tonight. Jace, thank you. Exclusive new interview. The woman who had an affair with the killer is speaking out just days before he's sentenced to life in prison. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Ann Trujillo, and she's talking about her romantic life with Christopher Watts, even up to the moments he confessed.
After 7's Jace Larson's in the studio tonight with details of the interview given to our news partner, the Denver Post.
Yeah, that's right. Her name is Nicole Kessinger, and this is what she looks like. She is a woman who worked in the oil business and in the same office building as Christopher Watts. For the first time tonight, Nicole Kessinger is agreeing to show her face and tell her side of the story. Kessinger says Watts first saw her in the break room, and then in mid-June, he came to her office to introduce himself. She said when he spoke to me, he was very soft-spoken. He appeared to be a good listener. Kessinger says Watts deceived her, though, never wearing a wedding ring and lying, saying he was in the final stages of a divorce. Then the next month, in July, she says they started dating, and they started seeing each other 4 or 5 times a week. He even asked her to help find an apartment, claiming he and his girls needed one after the divorce was final. He made me believe that he was doing all of the things that a rational man and a good father would do, she said. In an interview with Denver 7, Watts' parents said they had an inkling that their son was having an affair while his wife Shanann was visiting her family on the East Coast.
I think there may have been an emotional relationship prior to her leaving to come to North Carolina, and it may have progressed into something else when she was gone. I don't know anything about it. Chris didn't talk to us a lot about any of his personal life. He didn't, but you could see it. You could see it when you went down, when you went to visit.
When his family went missing and it was everywhere on the news, Kessinger says she realized he'd been lying to her, and she called the Weld County Sheriff's Office the day he was arrested. She's one of the people listed on the prosecution's witness list. I just wanted to help, she said. With a pregnant woman and 2 children missing, I was going to do anything that I could. Watts has reached a plea deal admitting that he's murdered his family, and he's set to be sentenced to life in prison on Monday. And if you're hoping that she knows why Watts did it, she says, I don't think there is a logical explanation. We mentioned that she spoke to our partners at the Denver Post. Tonight we have an early look at what the front page of tomorrow's Denver Post is going to look like. This story is front and center. You can read more of this interview. We have a link to this story posted at the
It's all really interesting, isn't it? I mean, all of the lies that District Attorney Rourke knew that Nicole Kessinger told the public, yet he has a nerve to admonish the public for asking questions, for asking legitimate questions, saying it's not a witch hunt, that anybody who is inquiring about Nicole Kessinger is on a witch hunt, implying that you're a horrible person. You're on a witch hunt. You're trying to go after somebody who hasn't done anything wrong. This is not a witch hunt. How dare he say that? How dare he? Some tend to believe, District Attorney Rourke, that the reason that you did not want anyone to know anything more about Nicole Kessinger, why you told the public who wanted to understand more about her role in everything, that this is not a witch hunt, leave me alone, and all the other things that he has said in the past about this case. Maybe the reason why you wanted to rush this case to a plea and make sure that search warrant that Detective Michael Prill indicated in his summary
of the phone extraction data, that search warrant that should be sought after to look further into the phone. You, District Attorney Rourke, wanted to make sure that search warrant was never obtained or executed. And we have to wonder why that is. We have to wonder why that is. And it might be that, well, there's a lot of reasons that could have caused him to behave in the despicable way he behaved as it relates to this case. But could it be that he didn't think that he was going to have enough to convict Chris Watts on the charges he needed to convict him on, not because he wasn't guilty? And let it be known that this channel absolutely believes that Chris Watts is where he belongs right now. Did he think he couldn't prosecute the case, not because Chris Watts isn't guilty, but because the investigation was so shoddy and shady in so many regards that he wasn't going to have enough to get that guilty verdict? Listen to District Attorney Rourke's own words in this rare interview. Now, remember that Chris Watts pled 1 week after Michael Prill found the secret calculator app and those other underground messaging systems in his phone that we know would have connected to Nicole Kessinger's, and stated in his report that he was on his way to obtain a new search warrant that a judge would have no doubt signed to look into those vaults of Chris Watts' phone that no doubt would have contained a whole bunch of vomit-worthy nudes of Nicole Kessinger throwing her little biscuits at her puppy when he was a good boy and did his tricks when he was across the country, supposed to be spending time with his family, but rather she was, sending her little booby photos to keep him on the phone with her, is how I look at it. They would have had a whole cache of those to enjoy if they enjoy that kind of thing. And can you imagine what was said? I bet you've imagined some of the things that were said, but I can promise you that one topic that really is two subtopics that were talked about in those third-party messenger systems could have, trying to say this correctly, should have had with them accompanying charges of something to the effect of accomplice to the M charge. And I believe that would have been enough documentation, memorialization, writing down of things in the electronic form that probably could have taken those charges, taken those charges all the way to a conviction in a home run style. So now there's two issues. Was Michael J. Rourke, just for his own selfish purposes, just not wanting to have to also prosecute her? Or is there a reason that he and or law enforcement understood that if they did not protect her, they would be exposing themselves? If you can wrap your head around that and think about it, please try. So this is what he says. I just want you to realize the timing there. You.
I know this is hypothetical, but had Chris Watts not confessed in this case?
Guilty, but because a lot of reasons that could have caused him to behave in the despicable way he behaved as it relates to this case. But could it be that he didn't think that he was going to have enough to convict Chris Watts on the charges he needed to convict him on, not because he wasn't guilty? And let it be known that this channel absolutely believes that Chris Watts is where he belongs right now. So shoddy and shady in so many regards that he wasn't going to have enough to get that guilty verdict. Listen to District Attorney Rourke's own words in this rare interview. Okay, but I want to read that all. I think I meant to read this out loud in this video. I want to read this out loud first. Asked if the district attorney's office questioned or planned to question Kessinger about data suggesting she was aware of Chris and Shanann Watts for up
to a year before the murders, Rourke said that Chris Watts' guilty plea precluded any need to further probe the results of the forensic analysis of Kessinger's phone. Okay, if you say so, Rourke, because that's what you fated into existence, didn't you? Why? Quote, we did not need to get to that point in our investigation of attempting to independently verify that or not, because Chris Watts pled guilty. Or because when I found out we were going to get to the point of independently verifying that, I got my sweaty balls on a plane to North Carolina just as fast as I could, brought Mrs. Rusick a homemade pumpkin pie, stayed there for a couple of nights and convinced them of a whole bunch of things that allowed me to strike a plea deal with Chris Watts just a couple days later, within a week of finding out about that next level search warrant of Chris Watts' phone. Oh.
I know this is hypothetical, but had Chris Watts not confessed in this case, how tight was this case? I mean, was there a lot of evidence out there? Because I know that as far as the murders, there wasn't a lot.
There was a lot of circumstantial evidence that really, I think, was strong evidence. When law enforcement shows up right at the outset, based on this call from her friend Nicole, saying, I need you to come check on the welfare of Shanann. When her car is there, her purse is there, her cell phone is there, the house is locked up from the inside in a way that no one could lock a door and run out a garage door, for example.
What?
The key code on the garage door didn't work.
What does that mean? Where nobody could lock a garage door and run out a garage door, for example. Dude, what are you talking about? Are you on the clock right now? Are people paying you tax dollars to say this shit? Seriously?
There was no way for a stranger to get in there, abduct them, or anything else. Signal to us that it probably, at that early stage, probably was a family member, probably was the defendant. But then you start to really look at the manner in which they were killed, where their bodies were dumped, his familiarity with that area. And I think there were a lot of pieces that could be put together even without him talking, but it certainly made it a much stronger case because he ultimately did give us at least a version of what he wanted us to believe, even though we know all of it wasn't the truth.
I'm following you.
Stop asking about it. She didn't have anything to do with it. She wasn't there
Even though we know all of it. Oh my God.
that morning. She voluntarily cooperated with law enforcement. She provided us all the information. I'm not going to tell you where she's at. Stop. Leave me alone.
Within the same article in which District Attorney Rourke admits that he knows that the September 1st, 2017 search for Shanann Watts by Nicole Kessinger is not a typographical error, but rather it is in the discovery because it was found during the phone extraction review. In that same article, well, it says this: asked if the district attorney's office questioned or planned to question Kessinger about the data suggesting she was aware of Chris and Shanann Watts for up to a year before the murders, Rourke said that Chris Watts' guilty plea precluded any need for further probe of the results of the forensic analysis of Kessinger's phone. Quote, we did not get to the point in our investigation of attempting to independently verify that or not because Chris Watts pled guilty. From District Attorney Rourke. Wow. And then he goes on to say this investigation is closed. Huh. Wow. Wow. Our attention back to Nicole Kessinger. Remember, according to her, we are supposed to believe that, well, she deleted all of Chris Watts' texts and anything having to do with him on her phone because she just had found out the day after the murders that Shanann was pregnant, when that is virtually impossible. Huge lie, number one. I mean, there's a lot of huge lies, but, you know, for the sake of the purposes of this video, we're talking about a couple of them. And then she goes on to try to convince investigators on several occasions, from the very first of her 5 interviews with law enforcement to the very last of them, that her reason for coming forward in part was because well, and whole was because she was worried about Shanann and the girls. She was worried about what possibly could have happened to them. As I mentioned in the beginning, this video effort has been turned into two different parts.
Yep.
So before ending this first
You
part,
don't
need to know about that, lady. Shut up. So, but wait, I do want to come back to that. But okay, so let's pick up where we just left off there. I'm just going to swap in another video here in just a minute. I just got to get the old disc changer player going. We're going to go in a time warp to the ultimatum video in the timeline of Shanann Watts' announcement of her pregnancy, Nicole Kessinger's awareness of it, and the commencement of the communication between the skanky empanada and the piece of shit.
I love it.
It is on the next day, August 8th, that Watts deletes his Facebook account. It is also on that next day, August 8th,
This
that
is all
Nicole
important.
Kessinger, but this is not the timeline I was trying to hit on. Just one second. Here we go. But that is very important. In the ultimatum video, if you have not watched it, it's largely about August 8th and that week they came home from North Carolina. And that is all critical. All right, here. I just can't remember the order I segmented these in. Oh, I got it. I gotcha. Oh, and just let me give you a little spoiler alert, just in case you haven't watched it yet, or even if you did, I want to refresh your memory because it's just so important. August 8th, the day after the whole Watts family returned to North Carolina, back to Frederick when Nicole Kessinger was eagerly awaiting. This is all what happened on that day.
And sealed for their gender reveal party. Also on that day, topics like emotion-focused therapy and couples therapy. So she's still hanging in there looking for an answer to their problems. So remember, this is the same day, the day that they were going to the ultrasound, where the baby's gender was going to be found out and sealed for their gender reveal party. Also on that day, Chris Watts deleted his Facebook account, very curious. And Nicole Kessinger, while Watts was at the ultrasound after he left her place, was searching for marrying your mistress. Now, what does that tell us? At this time, she still knew that she was the mistress.
You guys are so silly. Okay, let's go to school.
Oops. Okay, sorry. The most telling things that happens on that very eventful day, August 8th, 2018. Okay, so all right. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know all that happened on that day. But back to the timeline of the pregnancy announcements and such. Let's see, Nikki probably. Okay. So this is when the Dave Baumhover, Tammy Lee, and Coder are in Dodge Correctional Facility interviewing him in February of 2019 after he had been in prison, one or the other of them, for about 3 months. And Baumhover's asking him about deleting his Facebook account, and this is all tying into the pregnancy timeline here. It's all because it's all connected. It is all connected. You just got to find all the breadcrumbs. And I've been lonely over the past 6 years, and I've been picking up a lot of Watts breadcrumbs, and I've been putting them together for you guys. So I hope you like them. Here they are. I'm just kidding. Okay, I just spiraled into a pathetic personality there for you. No, being lonely isn't pathetic. I'm gonna stop talking now. NK has me all fired up and feisty tonight. You're right, anaphylaxis. Just watch the video. It'll speak for itself. I think I did a decent job.
On Facebook, see that she's now pregnant.
Oh, gotta go back just a wee little bit. Is Chris Watts deleting his Facebook? And I am going to explain. When Chris Watts was interviewed from Dodge Correctional Facility in February
of 2019, Dave Baumhover asked him directly about him deleting his Facebook. Why'd you do it? When'd you do it? Here's what he had to say.
How about your Facebook account? You deleted that at some point. When did you do that? And
I
why?
think it was, got back August 7th. Went to work. I think it was probably August 8th. That's when Nikki told me she told her friends about me. And I just figured, they probably looked me up on Facebook and see that she was pregnant. I think Nikki knew probably already, but I did that.
First of all, I want to note the last thing he said, that he said, I fixed Nikki probably already knew that, though, that Shanann was pregnant, because he knew. He probably knew it already. I honestly had not heard him say that in his interview until I was making this video, and oh my God. Now, we all know that Nicole Kessinger absolutely knew that Shanann Watts was pregnant, and she had known for a while. In fact, in the video that's linked in the description, the bombshell video, part 1, I lay out for you guys exactly when Shanann first posted on. That was the wrong video. I don't even know what I'm talking about sometimes. Sometimes you should not listen to me at all. But usually I got my facts totally straight. But here, we're going to lay it out right here. Facebook about her pregnancy and how that ironically coincides with the first communication between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger, which was through email, on Anadarko email on June 12th of 2018, when Chris and Nicole are having a back and forth about Nicole thanking Chris for his honesty that morning. She really admires that in a person. Now, the first time that Shanann Watts posted about her pregnancy was June 9th, and then she posted about it again on June 10th, June 11th, and June 12th. Are you all listening? This is really important. Shanann Watts posted about her pregnancy for the first time on June 9th, and then again on the 10th, the 11th, and 12th, 4 consecutive days. Guess what? Guess what the date was of Chris Watts and Nikki, saludos cordiales, first email exchange was? Guess what it was. Guess what it was. Shanann posted about her pregnancy on the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and 12th. And Nikki is now emailing Chris Watts all of a sudden about being honest on June 12th. Interesting. That first communication between Kessinger and Watts happens on June 12th. So you know what that means? You want to know what that means? I'm going to tell you what it means. That means that Nicole Kessinger, without a doubt, because there is ample evidence of her cyber stalking Shanann and Chris Watts constantly. There is no doubt in anyone's mind, including yours. If you have doubt, I will erase it. Ding! Now, that Nicole Kessinger knew that Shanann was pregnant with baby Nico before the very beginning of their relationship. If it truly did really start basically with that email on June 12th, she knew it the whole goddamn time and for even longer. Now, when you think about her story of the herd and the lies and the lies and the herd and made me hurt and lie and all of that, that she deleted all of those text messages and all the information pertaining to Chris Watts whatsoever on her phone because of the hurt and the lies, and that she found out by reading the newspaper with her morning X-lax that she found out that Shanann was pregnant the day after the family annihilation, and that is why she deleted all that off of her phone. Whoa. I hope she's holding on to something stable now, because her world should be spinning. Because the two don't go together at all. And there is no way that every single person in law enforcement was not 100% onto that, because it's totally fucking obvious. And she's thanking him for his honesty. And then, soon thereafter, their relationship starts with a bang.
interesting that when Baumhover asked Watts, why did he delete his Facebook account? Watts just readily available for, he knows that it was August 8th. At that point, that was 6 months ago, but he knows that it was August 8th because August 8th, that day, and the events of that day are indelibly marked in Chris Watts' mind. And I bet he remembers almost all of the details of that day because it was quite eventful for him. Now, it's also corroborated through the discovery files that Chris Watts deleted his Facebook account on August 8th because it's the next day, early in the day, on August 9th, that Shanann asked him, why did you delete your Facebook account? It's in their text messages. Well, on her phone, but not his, because he had erased the messages from her on his phone, and he doesn't reply. And then his dad, Ronnie Watts, on the 10th, probably Ronnie not checking Facebook nearly as frequently as Shanann, notices the following day, asks Watts if he deleted his Facebook account, and he remarks that, yeah, it's gone. He's liberated. Well, August 8th is the day he deleted his Facebook account. According to him, it's because on that day, Kessinger told him that she, for the first time, told her friends about him. So he didn't want Nicole Kessinger's friends to find his Facebook page and find out that his wife was pregnant. Not just that he had a wife, but that the wife was pregnant. But he fixed that Kessinger already knew that.
And also, guys, if it is true that Nicole Kessinger knew that Chris Watts' wife Shanann was pregnant when they exchanged their first email correspondence on June 12th over Anadarko email, just think of the implications. That would mean that she knew that Shanann Watts was pregnant during the entire duration of their courtship or their dating or their relationship. And I can guarantee you that that actually is true. But we're going to have to move on from that for now.
You're so damn sexy.
Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
Let's take a listen to Nicole Kessinger telling Kevin Kobach, the interviewer, for the billionth time that she did not know that Shanann was pregnant. And then she's going to talk about the times that she saw Chris Watts after he and his family returned from North Carolina. And she mentions that Wednesday, August 8th. Take a listen.
So you guys never had a conversation about the child, period.
I didn't know at all.
All right. And by your words, if you did know, you would have ended the relationship.
Well, because it wouldn't have made sense to me that he's like, I'm getting separated. Oh, by the way, I have a baby on the way. It's like,
That's 15 weeks.
You are a liar.
Oh, Miss.
Okay, so listen. All right, yeah, lie. Called her on lie, but that's obvious. But okay, here's what I've got to say. Big breadcrumbs. This pains me to say it, okay? But I'm saying it for your sake, for the sake of me and you, us together communicating, okay? It has nothing to do with giving NK anything. She doesn't deserve it. She's taken too much from this world. In what she just said, there was a little speck of truth. So I just want you to listen to the topic and the words again, okay? Walk with me here. Listen to Nicole Kessinger telling Kevin Kobach, the interviewer, for the billionth.
So you guys never had a conversation about the child, period.
I didn't know at all.
All right. And by your words,
And that was not the speck of truth. Hint.
if you did know, you would have ended the relationship.
Well, because it wouldn't have made sense to me that he's like, I'm getting separated. Oh, by the way, I have a baby on the way. It's like,
That's 15 weeks.
You are a liar.
Okay, there was the speck of truth was in there, okay? It didn't make sense to me that he's getting separated and he's got a 15-week-old baby on the way, which is actually like such a stupid thing to say, but it doesn't make sense to her that he's getting separated. His wife is 15 weeks pregnant, but they're going to start a relationship. That doesn't make sense to her. How inconvenient is that, man? I mean, that's like really freaking inconvenient, right? So there is the speck of truth. Walk with me. So let's think about this. Considering we now know, and you probably very well knew before, maybe you didn't know in like the exact terms I'm putting in now about like Shanann posting about her pregnancy for the first time on June 9th, and then 4 consecutive days, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, she posts joyfully about her pregnancy. Baby Watts, is showing Chris the pregnancy test. It's very clear who Baby Watts' baby daddy is, right? Baby Watts, baby daddy. Here's the pregnancy test, right? Our baby. Oops, you and I, Chris, Shanann, did it again. It's very clear. So considering that we know that she saw all those pregnancy announcements, the ones that Shanann was trying to make joyful, and that she knew that Shanann was pregnant with Chris Watts' baby, let's just assume that their relationship really did start with that email on June 12th, whatever. Thank you for your honesty email. That means that she knew the entirety of their relationship and even before that Shanann was pregnant. Do you think she was cool with that? Because, I mean, it is a fact that her and Chris Watts were a thing, right? They like had like all kinds of inputs they were working with and stuff. They were definitely thinging, right? Spending like every waking moment together. And then some when, Shanann and the girls were out of town. Nicole Kessinger knows that Shanann is pregnant the entire time that she's with Chris Watts. Do you think she is cool with that? With her borderline narcissistic, like just crazy in other ways that I don't even know if they're classifiable ways. We understand her personality, super jealous, super possessive, super focused on what she wants and what she wants only. Do you think she was okay with the fact that Shanann was pregnant? Obviously, the answer I am soliciting is no, because that is the obvious answer. So do you think she was just like going with that? Or do you think that in her skanky empanada mind, she had a plan for that shit? Right? Like, unborn babies are among the most vulnerable living. Their life. They're not even. I don't want to get into that because we're not going to like get into the whole like, church like abortion, life, death, not murder issue. I've talked about that enough in my life, or just heard people talk about it. I don't usually participate in the conversations because they give me headaches. But do you think that she had a plan for that? She just was not going to be okay with Shanann being pregnant with his baby. She had a plan for that in her own skanky empanada mind. As she began to understand how malleable and, chameleon Play-Doh-like Chris Watts was in his personality. And I know y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when I say those words that normally don't go together. Do you think that she maybe started to share the plan that she had to deal with that with Chris Watts just a little? Do you think maybe that happened? She's like, I can get him to go along with this because I got a plan for that. That baby Shanann thinks she's having, nope. No fucking way. I've got a plan for that. So just let that settle with you for a little while and tell me if anyone has an aha moment. Oh, Miss Kessinger, you are a liar, because at this point it's a proven fact that you knew that Shanann Watts was pregnant with Chris Watts' baby, probably all along. If you're interested in watching a video about this, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box.
You're just trying to sleep with me. That's what I would have probably.
Oh, and give grace. It's okay. You don't have to feel like don't come at me. It's okay. You can. We want you to state your opinion. Thank you for being here.
Interpreted that as, and I'd have just shut that off at work, and that would have been the end of it.
You would have shut that off. Is that like a Freudian slip? You would have shut that off. You would have shut what off? You would have shut off his advances, or you would have shut off that pregnancy that was Shanann's. It didn't belong to you. It was never yours to shut off. But what are you really talking about shutting off there, Nicole Kessinger? Oh, and if she is listening right now, she is shaking in her bikini boots. Because I know.
we can move past that.
Hi, Lily.
The
One of my bunnies. Hi, sweetheart.
week that he comes back from North Carolina, you don't remember, somewhere in the first couple of weeks of August.
Yeah, I think it was the second week, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
They're coming fast and furious. I dare to say that is another lie because remember this interview takes place on August 16th, 2018. Nicole Kessinger knows exactly when Chris Watts left for North Carolina, and she certainly knows exactly when he returned.
So we'll just use August as a time frame. Is that fair? Because you know he left in July and he comes back in August. How many times do you think you see him?
I saw him a few times. I saw him this past Saturday. I saw him the Wednesday before that. And he wanted to see me more. I was the one who wanted my space. I was like, nope, your kids are home. Go hang out with your kids. And even on Wednesday, I cut it short. Like he came and hang out with me for a few hours. Then I was like, go chill with your kids.
And y'all, our girl is on a roll. All right. So let me just add to what I was just talking about. So y'all remember when Chris first got to North Carolina and how sick Shanann got? Do you remember why that was? Do you think that was his idea? Or do you think maybe that was someone else's plan that got put into his mind? And remember, she knew about the pregnancy all along. And we know based on her personality profile that she had a plan all along. And for a person with the mental composition of Nicole Kessinger, a seed planted can grow into something grandiose very quickly and very easily without proper fertilization, sunlight, nutrition, or hydration. And perhaps what I'm suggesting is perhaps maybe in an alternative universe, therein lies some of her criminal culpability that could easily have a charges attached to them if there were documents, things written down, memorializations of such a plan and a sharing of a plan with certain levels of detail. And no, I'm not going crazy. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Just trying to have you meet me halfway here, y'all. Going back to the end of the August 26th final video with Kobach, just to hear what a really excellent person we're working with here. So when you're thinking about those seeds that she may have planted in her own mind and in Chris Watts' mind and the potential of what they could grow into, just consider what an amazing, upstanding, compassionate person she is who cares about others and the lives of others, because that's clear, right? I know you all get the irony there.
For you, that's a legal process. It's really not that.
Quite stunning.
Can you guys help me with the name change? You like do that? I'm serious, please.
So I can't do anything for you. That's a legal process. It's really not that difficult. There's just paperwork that needs to be filled out. I think your best bet would just be to call and maybe ask an attorney to help you with that, or seek advice from, I don't even know who you call, honestly, but people change their name all the time when they get married. So it's probably the county clerk, but I would think it would have to be at a state level to make a name change. I know it can be done. I just don't know how to do it, and I wouldn't even know who to reach out. I mean, I could find out and let you know, but I don't know how to do it. Like the witness protection thing is very, very rare.
I'm not expecting that.
Yes.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going to hurt you, all those things. So.
No, I'm not expecting that. I don't even know. Like sometimes I'm like, I just want to do it now, and I'm like, why? See, she's all upset because I asked her to not talk to the media, and it happened to be the day that her dad died, and I'm sitting here trying to comfort her.
Okay.
But then she brought it up.
No, remember, she's talking about her best friend, and she's irritated that she's trying to talk to her best friend about her petty problems, her worrying about the media on her phone
stuff when people have been murdered, when a family's been annihilated. And oh, it happens to be on the day that her best friend's dad dies. She's truly remarkable.
Again last night, but she didn't
Brought up what? Chris?
Okay, but she didn't like connect the dots. She was like freaking out like her dad just died.
Yeah, she's freaking out. Her dad just died, you stupid bitch.
And she was really upset. She wanted me to come see her on Saturday because it's his
So
wedding.
unexpected.
Kind of, sort of. He had Parkinson's. So kind of, but not. You know what I'm saying? It was a very drawn out thing. But she's having a really hard time with it. I knew she would. And she's like, can you make the wake on Saturday? And I was like, I don't know if I was going to leave the house. And I didn't tell her that, but I was like, I don't know. I'll try. And I'm going to go, but I'm not going to tell her until it's like right before I have to be there. And
So what is she reference of? Just is Chris the guy? I'm more interested.
No, she didn't even ask me if she was just like, she's like, I don't know what's going on. She's like, you can just read it.
So you mentioned on your text before you were coming that there was other information that you thought of that was important again?
Yeah.
More info?
Yeah, let me get so sidetracked.
I'll look at this when you do that, and then
I'll show you where it is.
Yeah,
There's
show me
so
where it
much in here. Like, I will just say.
you guys talk a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Is this your best friend?
Yes. This girl is like my whole world.
All right. But you're not talking about children or your relationship with Chris or anything like that?
No, the only time I ever mentioned him was like that one day.
Okay.
And I didn't even
And when I told him about my plans for that,
remember that I even had like said that to her.
What's her phone number?
And she apologized to me like, 'cause she was being kind of crazy. She was.
So tell me about the new info that you remembered.
I don't care if your job is having an open investigation. I'm not going to ask you a single question, but my pop's died and you're my best friend.
Okay.
And I said, please stop talking about that. And she said, what do you want, house arrest? And she just keeps saying, my father died, what the fuck? She was not okay last night, and I was just trying to like.
dude, I've just got to say, and you guys, many of you know, my dad did pass away about a year ago, and it was horrible. It's the worst thing I've ever been through. I mean, I guess in a way I'm fortunate for that, because I know people go through very, very horrible things that aren't a natural, normal kind of course of life. And I know that losing parents is, but anyway, you know, I know many of you relate. Horrible. If I was talking to my best friend or any of you, just people, you know, I've connected with in life through YouTube, or, you know, that I chat with sometimes, and, you know, I'm upset, I'm telling you about my father dying, and any of you, or let alone my best friend, were to tell me to stop talking about that, I know that no person who I would ever allow in my life would speak to me like that, because it is just not a way that human beings speak to one another. I mean, and it's moments like these that I just like to point out at how fucked up this woman's personality is. I don't think she has a moral compass. And in saying that, I think her boundaries for the potential of pure evil are expansive.
Understandable.
Mitigate this. And I was like trying to calm her down. And I said, Charlotte, I'm trying so hard to be the best friend I can to you right now. So I don't want to talk to you about that case. I didn't say the case. I said that case. Like I wasn't even affiliated with it at all. And you need to respect that. I'm here for you regarding your dad. You know this. And then she's freaking out. I'm freaking out.
You guys never had a conversation except for this past text messages about Chris and his children.
No, that was it. Okay. That was, yeah. See, and she keeps trying to talk about it.
What, her dad dying?
She says, if you're not under investigation by the police, I don't care. Why can't you attend your so-called best friend's father's death? It doesn't make sense to me. And all I told her was stop.
Dude.
And
she just like,
her dad.
yeah, and she just is like freaking out. And finally, I just told her, you know, getting mad at me is going to bring your dad back.
Oh my God.
She apologized to me this morning for being.
Dude, and she apologized to her. Charlotte, honey, listen, Charlotte, girl, I know. We've tried to bring you in and talk to you before, but seriously, this time you got to do it. Charlotte, you got to remove it if you haven't yet. Like, Who said that here? PK. I hope Charlotte removed her from her life. I mean, seriously, if this is Charlotte's best friend, girl, come on over. Let's go get a drink, girl. Let's go shopping. Let's go do girly things. I'm going to replace your friend because this is not it. She said, I told her that talking to me, or like, would she say something is not going to bring your dad back? I think if anybody said that to me right after my dad died, I think I'm 100% positive I would have punched him in the face.
At all, and you need to respect that. I'm here for you regarding your dad, you know this. And then she's freaking out.
You guys never had a conversation except for this past text messages about Chris and his children.
No, that was it. Okay. That was, yeah, see, and she keeps trying to talk about it. She says, if you're not under investigation by the police, I don't care. Why can't you attend your so-called best friend's father's death? It doesn't make sense to me. And all I told her was stop.
And
she just like, yeah, and she just is like freaking out. And finally, I just told her, you know, getting mad at me isn't going to bring your dad back.
You know what? You are a horrible human being, and we all know it. Good for you.
She apologized to me this morning for
being. Charlotte apologized to her. My God.
Being drunk and sad and angry.
She apologized to her for being drunk and sad and angry while Nicole Kessinger was dealing out the abuse. Charlotte, honey, come on over. Seriously. This is an intervention. We're elevating this shit. You cannot have this in your life, girl. Oh my God. Cannot even. It's giving me a headache. Jesus. Oh. How you doing, Darren? Darren says, dude started scrolling and she took her phone back. I know, I saw that too. Let's look at that again. I've noticed that a few times. And well, I've actually kind of connected this because yeah, she's obviously hiding something, but let's let everyone else see that if they haven't yet.
I wouldn't even know who to reach out. I mean, I could find out and let you know,
get that.
but I don't know how to do it. You know, like the witness protection thing is very, very rare.
I'm not expecting that.
Yes.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going to hurt you, all those things. So.
No, I'm not expecting that. I don't even know.
And remember recently during that live stream when we were looking at the secret text between Kobach and Nicole Kessinger in the wee hours of the night, the 43 pages of them, you can find that video too. Remember during the actual live stream for the first time I noticed, and I think all of you too, I don't think anyone ever really taken that in, when he initiates a conversation with her and says, I want to introduce you to the new detective that it's going to be your contact. And of course it's Dave Baumhover, and also talk about witness protection. And y'all didn't know this, but I just fell out of my chair. It wasn't even a bunny. It was a big boom. It was me on the floor. You heard. I couldn't believe it. And then there's just so many layers to this case.
Sometimes I'm like, I just want to do it now. And I'm like, why?
Here you go.
She's all upset because I asked her to not talk to the media, and it happened to be the day that her dad died, and I'm sitting here trying to comfort her.
Okay.
But then she brought it up again last night, but she didn't
brought up what?
Look, did you see that? Did you see her screen? Whenever, okay. This is when he touches her phone and he starts scrolling, and he's obviously getting towards territory she don't want him to be. Look at her hand freaking out right here. Thank you for pointing that out, Darren. I forgot that happened during this time right here. Wait for it, but not too long because it's about to happen. Freak.
See, she's all upset because I asked her to not talk to the media, and it happened to be the day that her dad died, and I'm sitting here trying to comfort her.
Okay.
But then she brought it up again last night, but she didn't
brought up what?
See how she's like, get away from that, right?
But she didn't connect the dots. She was freaking out her dad just died.
Because now she's just scrolling.
She was really upset. She wanted me to come see her on Saturday because it's his wedding.
So unexpected.
Kind of, sort of. He had.
Just Chris the guy. I'm more interested.
No, she's
trying to get his hand back on it.
Tell her, and so it's right before I meant to be there. And
So what is she reference? Just Chris the guy. I'm more interested.
No, she didn't even ask me if she was just she's like, I don't know what's going on. She's like, you can just read it. I'll give it to you.
So
You can see it. I'll email it to you, but you can't see it now because I'm still hiding things. I deleted everything. I still got things to hide, man. I've done a lot of bad things. I've got a lot to hide. Too much. Rachel. Rachel Riley. Riley, it's not you. I need new contacts. Rachel Riley, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Welcome. She's distracting with her yapping. Exactly. Okay. Angela says wrong medication. Opioids don't cause miscarriages. Well, that might be so. And I am not a medical professional, but I can assure you that a certain skanky empanada thought in a certain dosage high enough that they without a shadow of a doubt would. And guess who fucked that all up? Mr. Amoeba Spine. Yeah, I do think she was absolutely seducing, flirting with him. Absolutely. I mean, I think that was always a play with her. Why? Do you act like a spoiled brat? Oh my God. I'm not having some wine over here. Dang, I should though, huh? No, I'm like, ever since I was diagnosed with lupus, I think it was 5 years ago. It'll be next month. Is this 5? Yeah, because it was a year before. Okay, so this channel is almost 4 years old. That'll be next month. Yeah, because it's March. So I was diagnosed with lupus the year before, almost a year to the day when I started this channel. So ever since I was diagnosed, I can't drink alcohol. It just makes me, ugh. It starts giving me like that lupus rash across my face and just makes me super tired. But I miss the days where drinking a glass of wine was fun, or 2 or something. How come they never released her text with Jim? That's a great question. I don't even know if they ever even got those. 2 sick, demented, evil monsters. Yeah. Oh, because I fell in my chair. Oh, that's because I'm being so cray. What's lupus? It's a. Oh, I feel like talking about lupus is tiring. It is. I always get nervous talking about lupus on this channel because of the whole Shanann Watts and lupus mega issue that is a lot of people have an opinion on that. But it's a chronic illness that for a lot of people it can attack different things. Actually, through this channel, and through like some just people that I've intentionally connected with since I found out I had it, like mine attacks my kidneys really badly. I found out that I had it because I started getting kidney stones. I was like in my late 30s, super healthy. I was like running all the time. I was a vegetarian, like just super healthy, like not the picture of kidney stones. And then I started getting really bad kidney infections that were putting me in the hospital. And that's what led me to the diagnosis. And apparently it affects a lot of people who have lupus. It will attack the kidneys, but it can really attack any organ or aspect of your body or being it wishes to, because it is an autoimmune disease, which is basically your body turning against itself, which sounds like a horrible thing, and it is. But I feel like mine is relatively under control, and so I'm very grateful for that. Usually before I talk about lupus, I prepare myself a little for that. So sorry, wasn't prepared for it. So I'm like, lupus, where do I begin? I'll tell you one thing though, it drains the life out of you. I feel like when I was diagnosed with lupus, when I started getting all those kidney and other symptoms, which were mostly of extreme exhaustion and feelings of dehydration when I wasn't dehydrated at all, which might be related to the kidney thing. I don't know. I just had the worst flu of my life. Like I was out of work for almost 3 weeks with it. And then I was still really sick. I feel like I never recovered from that flu because they don't really know where the origin of lupus is, as far as I know, at least. And I feel like that virus gave me lupus, if that makes sense, or I don't know. But anyway, I never, before I had lupus or was diagnosed with it or whatever the case may be, I never knew exhaustion or fatigue or I never knew. I honestly never knew I could feel that shitty. It's like a horrible way to say it, but that's kind of how it is. So it's just something you really need to manage. And if any of the symptoms I mentioned sound like you and you don't know why you have those symptoms, definitely go get a checkup and tell your doctor that Kelly from Watsy Obsession said that you need to go through the grueling battery of tests to see if you might possibly have lupus or more likely some other autoimmune deficiency or disease, because all the symptoms I mentioned are oftentimes indicative of that. But I am not a doctor or a medical professional, so what the fuck am I doing giving you medical advice? If you feel that crappy, seriously, go see a doctor and do whatever you can to make yourself feel better, because you don't deserve to feel like that every day, sister. Stop. So let's take care of ourselves, y'all. That's all I'm saying about that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know we all have struggles. Oh, yes, please do. Anyone who'd like to have a glass of wine for me, please do and enjoy. Oh, yeah, I've heard, seriously, I was diagnosed with psoriasis and also have had problems with kidney infections. Kelly, mine is under control. Mine was mono was from mono, which then you never got better. Like I was just saying about the flu. Yeah, that's my best friend is just diagnosed with psoriasis. I was really surprised to find out that there were some overlapping symptomologies there too. Yes, y'all drink for me. Sometimes I wish I wanted to drink, but then other times I'm like, I don't really need it anyway. But I mean, my desire to have a drink if I was stressed out or like on a Friday night to like not wanting it all was abrupt. So going back to the opioids, miscarriage, all these lovely topics this evening. That's what happens when you bring Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts into a stream. Opioids can cause miscarriage, though more commonly in early pregnancy, highest in 4 to 8 weeks. Yeah, that makes better sense. I think probably, the highest risk is generally around that time, right? Because the embryo hasn't necessarily implanted in a I'm deciding I want to come into this earth right now kind of way. But yeah, I think that rings true. I mean, I didn't research it too deeply about the opioids and miscarriages. I just figured, I don't know. I felt like when I was pregnancy itself, when I was pregnant for the normal time most people are pregnant, plus 11 days, child, that you wouldn't come out. Those were hard days. I was like hiding in a closet. Have you ever had like a cat or a dog or something that has kittens or puppies, and when they're about to have their litter, they go like and hide in a closet or something for like you can't find them for days, or like I became that kitten or puppy or bunny or whatever. Oh my God. Anyway, I was just looking up the general facts about it. And I mean, I think any synthetic medication, if taken to a degree where it's toxic for your body when you're pregnant, sure, is going to put the pregnancy at risk. Definitely. I mean, pregnancy is a very miraculous and powerful thing, and it's also very delicate, right? Yeah. Oh no, we're not even going to talk about menopause. All the men in the room, you can just go and take yourself a break for a moment. We've got girly things to talk about, and you do not want to know about them, I promise. I'm just kidding, guys. Oh, I'm so glad, Peter. I'm so glad that you're enjoying being here. That's what we want for people. I mean, the things we talk about certainly are hard, but we are still human beings who are relating to each other, and that's, human beings talk about hard things because life is hard. Oh yeah. I've heard of that before. I've never tried that, but yeah. But again, I'm not going to give out medical advice. Okay, so. Oh my God, we've been going at this for over 2 hours. I almost postponed this till tomorrow night because when I was starting out, I was like getting all ready. I was going to turn my camera on. And then I just started feeling really crap. It's probably, I was saying to my son, he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I feel like it's a lupus thing coming on. And that's just when you've got to really rest and take care of yourself. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I want to do this. If it's not tonight, it's tomorrow night. And maybe I'll just rest tomorrow. It's Sunday. What is my point? I covered everything I wanted to cover. Does anyone have anything they want to say? Does anyone need to come up and say something on panel? Somewhat briefly, not because I don't want you to have free access, but because I am going to wrap up soon. But here's a link to panel if somebody wants to speak instead of type. But I'm sorry about that, Molly. I didn't mean to just say, menopause and run away from your message. I'm a little afraid of it though. And Maggie Bridget, by the way, thank you for the super chat earlier. I highlighted, but I didn't say thank you. Oh yeah, and one of the great ironies of the Honorable District Attorney Rourke's wife's and her friend's podcast was, well, first of all, that she talks about, never mind. The best irony of it was how they go on and on and on about how disgusting YouTubers and other social platform creators are who talk about true crime and they dare to profit off others' tragedies. And, and I personally get so sick of hearing that because I know for my channel, the point wasn't to just come on here and perseverate on other people's tragedies. It was to look at human behavior and, some dynamics. And there is so much value in that. And whatever. Anyway, that's something you commonly hear if you're a true crime creator anyhow. So people say it, whatever you're used to hearing it. Maybe you think it, maybe you've heard it. So anyway, that's the opinion of Rourke's wife and the friend who are the co-creators of this podcast, but they're going off about it. Rourke too. I kid you not. I kid you not. Not even one complete sentence segues us into going from them ripping apart YouTube creators who are making money, who are monetizing off of other people's tragedies, to the friend who is the co-podcaster ripping right into an in-content commercial for some herbal supplements that are supposed to make your life all good. And make sure when you guys go sign up for herbal supplements, candyclownjoke.com, you put a / the Honorable District Attorney Rourke's wife after that, so we can get that 25% kickback. That's monetization. What does it matter if you're getting it in the form of the only monetization this channel has when YouTube will allow it, other than contributions from viewers, is the ads that one would see during my uploads. I think it's just uploads. I think if you don't have YouTube Premium, so I don't do sponsorship up. I just haven't done any of that. I've been approached by so many people, but it's all the same. It's revenue that you are getting because somebody else is getting to advertise what they want to get out there during your content. It is all the same. It was literally one of the most hypocritical moments I have ever witnessed, ever. It was insane, truly insane. And it's moments like those where you're like, these people obviously have no fucking clue what they're talking about, nor do they have any fucking semblance of shame. Excuse all my F-bombs this evening. It's just one of those nights. But it really is the epitome of no self-awareness. None. Yeah, Darren says it's people speaking to people. They want us to be sheep listening to the mainstream media. Exactly. Right. and if and I mean, I was just talking about this yesterday when we were listening to the Idaho 411 call, which I thought was just so traumatic. And, it just has a lot of the elements of why people become so fascinated with true crime. It's, the element of it that some people feel ashamed of, wanting to know more about because it's like so horrible. It's like the ugliest parts of humanity. You almost feel like I shouldn't want to know more about that. Like it's shameful, like it's so dirty, it's so, bad, but it is, that it is, it is the part of our psyche that we are not always in control of, that is just always trying to figure things out behind the scenes for us to make our little worlds that are so hard every single day, like be kind of more okay. Right. Like, and if in like the way our psychology has evolved to this point, at least we figure if we can make some sort of sense of it, whether it's, behaviorally or cognitively, that is going to, that diminishes our own sense of fear about how the fuck could somebody do that to another human being, which we mistake for that actually decreasing the level of threat that which we are afraid of presents. You see what I'm saying? But our minds, as I'm sure have funny ways of tricking us into things all the time that just help us to get through life and help us to get through the day. And that's why people, at the core are so attracted to and really resonate in the true crime genre and having discussions around these really sometimes hard to face human realities. And it's not unhealthy. It's not abnormal. It's not, psychotic. It's not, doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean like you're, the degradations of society. It just means that you are, exercising a demanding part of your own psychology with respect. And like, that's fine. And to do it in a socially adaptive way with other people where you're actually communicating and getting that benefit of, being with others and supporting other people. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And people can spew about it all they want, but they're just wrong. And I don't say that very often, but I believe that in this case. Good night, Pepper. Thank you for everything. Oh, that's awesome, Sarah. I'm glad you did too. Thanks for being here. Yeah, learning keeps you safe. Right, exactly. PK says, what district attorney does not charge Nicole Kessinger for obstruction lying to law enforcement? That is incompetent. I do agree with that. So, yes, I am going to get some good rest. Okay, guys. So, yeah, I will end it here. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. And we're going to just keep walking down this road. As I think some of or maybe you picked up just as I was talking about, I learned some information that has, plenty of receipts with it. Something that I didn't even necessarily expect. That is I'm not sure. That is an allegedly, possibly criminal part that Nicole Kessinger played in the homicides of Chris Watts' family. Okay. There's no doubt, like I said in the very beginning, in durable circumstances, one would face charges based on the receipts that exist for what there is evidence of. And perhaps the more confounding question is that it is not possible that law enforcement and the district attorney's office did not know about these same things I'm being like cloaked about right now. Just because I don't know. It's going to just be a shit show if ever I'm like, okay, here's the whole thing. I don't know. I just have to be really ready for that one. And it doesn't look good on anyone. Let's just say that, okay? It doesn't look good on anyone. So the questions are serious. Why Nicole Kessinger has done what she does and continues to do? I don't know. She's just a messed up person. I think we all just know that. It's so rare. I just say I really just don't have respect for a person. And I don't even know if I can say that about her, but I'm real close. The more disturbing question is, how does law enforcement know what they know? How did they know what they know and not move forward with charges and proceed intentionally down the route that they did, that appears to me at this time to be navigated by District Attorney Rourke away from further investigating like we were talking about earlier, the Michael Prill doctrine, as I call it, him uncovering that there's more in Chris Watts' phone than just the regular text messages. There was a lot more storage, there's a lot more pictures, there's a lot more files, a lot more communication. And Michael Rourke shut that down immediately. And to me, I'm pretty sure it was intentionally. And at that point, on August 30th, whether it was the 30th or the 31st, it is literally impossible that law enforcement in the district attorney's office did not have awareness of the horrifying criminal culpability Chris Watts' former mistress appears to have had in the commission of these egregious crimes. I know that doesn't really maybe to shed light on the situation, but I actually forgot where I was going because I'm getting tired. But I mean, all of this does need to come out in the sunlight. I'm just kind of don't want to do it alone. Maybe that's part of it. So I'm hoping like maybe there's someone out there that's like, oh my God, I've been holding on to that for X amount of time. Like, I feel like there's got to be somebody out there that's going to join me somewhere here in this realm of the nebulous, but knowing that justice needs to happen and sunlight needs to shine on these very dark and frightening issues. So if you are that person, or if you know that person, you can find me at, what is it? Something like, alongside Nicole Kessinger at eharmony.com. I'm just kidding. But seriously, if you're like, wait a minute, I think I know what she's talking about, and I know somebody else who is been all weird about this or might have that similar information, please connect me with them. Because that's what I feel like I need right now, personally. Watts the Obsession is a channel and just me as a person. So that's all. Ooh, Jen Soto. We love her too. It was like Jen Soto, who is obviously involved in her daughter's. Yeah, right. Similar. Yes. Oh my God. I really thought she was going to get arrested around Christmas time. I got a tip that she was. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Prill was stopped by Rourke. Yes, absolutely he was. Yes. That's why he's railing hard on YouTubers. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even connect it that plainly, but I think you're exactly right. I mean, I know by virtue of this information, I have two other people that kind of came across this with me who have been helping me research all along, not super involved with the channel though. By virtue of being the person in that group of three that actually has like any kind of a platform that interfaces with the public, I just feel really exposed. That's it, guys. I feel really exposed and insecure. I just want a friend to hold my hand. But I know that some people have to, I know there has to be others out there that are actually understand what I'm saying right now, not just like, what is she talking about? What is she talking about? So if you're one of those people, please reach out and let me know. She's more likely to be on Grindr. Oh my God. You guys are so crazy. Thanks, seriously. Do it members only on, you mean talk about this? Or are you saying this to me? Maybe that's an idea. Yeah, I mean, I really am afraid to utter more on YouTube, obviously, even when I'm like, maybe I'm gonna like kind of talk about this more openly. I just I don't even want to say anymore. I just feel like I'm always one shade away on this platform, honestly. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, guys, I love y'all. Remember, life is hard, as I think we have discussed thoroughly. But listen, Charlotte Nelson, girl, if you hear me, come on over, mama. I will even drink a margarita with you. I don't care if I get a butterfly rash and I pass out from exhaustion right then and there and also get a kidney stone. I will do that for you, Charlotte Nelson, because you do not deserve to have this woman as your best friend. Toxic. Remove her. Okay? Okay? And all the rest of you, be kind to each other and please take good care of yourselves because you deserve it. You're not picking up what I'm putting down. I know, and I don't blame you. I'm not trying to be like annoying like that, but I'm not going to put down any more because if you're not picking it up, I'm too tired to go pick it back up. All right. So everybody have a really great night. And I don't know what I'm putting out next. I've been putting out a lot of videos on different cases, just even some short things, some more historical things like some of the Casey Anthony interrogation tapes and just things like that, just some historical background on some cases. In part just to see, they're all things I'm super interested in. I know some of you are, but like the views tell me what you guys are more interested in, so then I can create more in-depth content on the things that you guys are telling me you're interested in, because there's only so many hours in a day, honey. There's only so many hours in a day and only so many cells in a kidney. So with that, everyone have a great night, and I hope to see you super soon. And thank you so much for being here.